Thank you very much. I am so much delighted, as I think a martyr might have got delighted while sacrificing his or her life for the sake of the country. So actually the blood flow is actually increased in my body now without any blood pressure, of course. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. The Honorable Vice Chancellor of Indira Gandhi National Open University and patron of all programs of IGNOU, Professor Nageshwar Rao Sahab, Co-Vice Chancellor Professor Rajendra Prasad Das Sahab, and also Co-Vice Chancellor Professor Satyakam Sahab. Actually, today I am here, I think because of Professor Satyakam ji. He contacted me to be here on this particular date. And you know, his time management, he contacted me almost 4 months in advance. And then that was finalized that I will be with you on this auspicious occasion. Professor Naval Kishore ji, my very good friend and very great contributor in the field of commerce and very celebrated editor of Indian Journal of Commerce. And I know that he did facelifting of that celebrated journal. Dr. Sushil Tiwari ji, all revered colleagues of Indira Gandhi National Open University. Let me say that I worked in Indira Gandhi National Open University during 1997-1999 for about 2 years. So my all revered colleagues working at Indira Gandhi National Open University across all the schools, all the regional directors of IGNOU and all the staff at respective places, and officials of IGNOU and students spread across the country and also abroad. Guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Two things, let me make it clear. Right in the beginning, when Dr. Sushil Tiwari ji and other friends started introducing in Hindi, I was feeling more excited that I'll get a chance to speak in Hindi. But already I had a discussion with Professor Satyakam and we chose English to be the language of this discussion. So I'll stick to English. Of course, when I stick to English, I stick only 90% because please allow me to keep 10% reserved for Hindi, Urdu, Bengali, Uriya, or whatever I know or do not know. So, very interesting that the Center for Freedom Struggle and Diaspora Studies of IGNOU, on this platform, it is 24th webinar series on the occasion of Bharat Ka Amrit Mahotsav, because we are going to complete 75 years of independence on 15th of August 2022. So congratulations for having already completed 23 series, 23 lectures. This is 24th, and I wish all the best for the remaining 76. It is a big, let us say, challenge that you have accepted. What is called in Hindi, Bida Utha Lena. It is not very easy that one single university promises to get delivered 75 lectures on Indian independence and the ethos of India and celebrate the 75 years of independence in such a grand way. So my salute to the endeavors of the Center for Freedom Struggle and Diaspora Studies of IGNOU and entire IGNOU family. Today's topic, which I will be speaking for about next 20 minutes or 25 minutes maximum, Indian insights of independence and its implications on pre-independent and post-independent India. I know the kind of platform which has been given to me. Basically, I am not a historian. My study to history has been very limited up to class 6th or 7th or maximum class 8th. But I have done thousands of pages of self-study on history. World history was not taught even one page to me formally, but I studied world history on my own. And many dimensions and many facets of Indian history was not taught to me formally, but I thought at one point of time in my life that without understanding Indian history or world history, I should not die. And that's why I started reading and developed some understanding. And whatever I will place, that will be based on my own understanding. And इसको कहते हैं ना कि आप इसे माने या ना माने, ख्यालात तो मेरे अपने हैं. It means I'll just try to place some of the thoughts which came to my mind while reading history, understanding history. And actually this topic is not basically on history. Of course, I'll bring examples from Indian history and struggle for Indian independence. But this topic, if you focus, that is Indian insights of independence and its implications on pre-independent and post-independent India. So let me enjoy interaction with you. I can also see on the screen some of my old class friends and who have been working or who have got retired from a very prestigious position from various organizations in the country. I can see Stephen here, who is smiling also, and he retired from a very high position from Indian Oil. I can also see Santosh Kumar Singh, and he also retired as General Manager of Coal India Limited. So thank you for coming here. Now let us enjoy this discussion. When we say Indian insights of independence, there are three topics here. Indian insights of independence. What is the meaning of independence as per the wisdom and philosophy and psychophilosophy of India? That is one part. Second is, what is the implication of Indian insight of independence in pre-independent India? That is the second part. And third part is that, what is the implication of the Indian insights of independence in post-independent India? Let me try to do justice in this limited time. First of all, I would like to say that before we understand independence, we have to understand the prefix of this word, because independence has come from the Sanskrit word that is swatantra, and the root word is swa, and tantra means mechanism through which we manage our swa. Means either this is micro swa, that is individual, or macro swa means collective self. It means the whole society. So swa tantra, swa means micro swa, that is self, singular me, and swa also means collective self of all, entire society, entire country, or entire world, because we believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is swa. And tantra means a mechanism through which we create system of governance, because governance system helps everything to develop, including the swa itself. Means swa helps developing itself, swa develops swa, and swa also develops many other things, rest of the things in this world. So, first concept of swa, I would like to quote from Brahma Upanishad. And this is a very, very popular and well-known quote. Tileshu Thailand, this I'm quoting in Sanskrit from Brahma Upanishad. For your knowledge, let me say 191 Upanishad, to my knowledge, are available in market. So one is Brahma Upanishad. It says, Tileshu Thailang Dadhniva Sarpah Apah Strotah Swarnishu Chagneh Evamat Matmani Jayate Sau Satyenayanang Tapasayenu Pashyati. It means, as there is oil in seed, you can see seed, but oil is not visible, but oil is in the seed. You can see, as there is cream in curd. Ordinarily, cream will not be visible in the curd, but cream is everywhere available in the curd. So as there is oil in seed, cream in curd, water in stream, fire in wood, that is unrevealed form, so the self resides in us in unrevealed form. That self is revealed through penance and truth. Very interesting. As these things are not visible explicitly in its abode, like oil is not visible in the seed, similarly, the self which is abiding inside me and me of everyone is not visible, but this is revealed through practice of penance and truth. And you see, our independence movement was also termed or was based on satyagraha. Satyagraha, Satyaka Agraha, invocation of truth. And this was connected to our struggle for freedom. And you see, the name of the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi ji, who wrote, is the experimentation, my experimentation with truth. I will not argue everything. Sometimes I will bombard my own thought, which may be acceptable or to some extent may not be. But if I think deeply, I find that at least for Mahatma Gandhi ji, at least I want to be safe, not for everyone. At least for Mahatma Gandhi ji, the prime course of action was experimentation with truth. And through that mean, he had attached, coupled, linked his experimentation with truth with freedom struggle movement of India. And that's why you will see that, as Mahopanishad says, Brahmopanishad, which I quoted from, says that truth or the self is revealed through experimentation with truth or penance. You see, you remember that Mahatma Gandhi ji had suspended freedom movement after Chauri Chaura incidents, which happened in a place very close to Gorakhpur in Uttar Pradesh. And then he decided to go to Sabarmati to do penance, to do more experimentation with self, because he had suggested his fellow countrymen, his beloved countrymen, not to get indulged in violence. But there is a limit to everything, you see. I will come to that issue later on. Some violence took place. One police station was burnt in Chauri Chaura. Gandhiji became annoyed. He said that something is lacking in me. I must experiment with truth. And almost for 6 to 7 years, the direct action for freedom movement was suspended. And that was the period, sometime between 1923 to 1930. Gandhiji lived in Sabarmati Ashram. And that stay got ended only when, on March 12, 1930, Mahatma Gandhi decided to begin Dandi March. And after Dandi March, again, direct action started. Means direct action for freedom struggle started, of course, in non-violent way through Gandhian method. Of course, there were many other forces also were working collectively. So, what I was saying that this is the concept of self. The self with capital S, because self with a small s is lower self, which is suffering with 6 impurities inside: Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Matsar, Ahankar. That is also self. But self means the self with capital S, that is evolved self. That is the meaning of Swa in Swatantra in Indian context. The other reference I would bring for understanding the Swa from Indian philosophy and psychophilosophy is, this is from Bhagavad Gita that says, Indriyani prani aho indriyebhyah parang manah manasastu para buddhe yo buddhe partastu sah. It means the senses are said to be greater than the body, but greater than the senses is mind. Greater than the mind is the intellect, and what is greater than the intellect is the Swa, that is the he capital H, that is the self. Very interesting flow of this sutra is there. This says the senses are said to be greater than the body, and greater than the senses is mind, greater than the mind is intellect, and greater than the intellect is that Swa, that self. Very interesting thing I'm going to bring to you. In Indian understanding, more subtler aspects are more powerful. More grosser is less powerful. See, the physical body is very gross, and subtler than physical body is mind, subtler than mind is intellect, and subtler than intellect is the self, the Swa, the Atman. And that's why more you visit in the domain of subtler, more you are in companionship with the powerful entity. And that's why, while Indian psychophilosophy says, while diving deeper inside yourself, when you visit your subtler, let us say, devices inside you, you become more powerful. Ordinary logic says that grosser things have more power. Grosser means, let us say, a paperweight of iron. Of course, I don't have any paperweight of iron here, but suppose a paperweight of iron is grosser than a rose, because rose is very, very softer, subtler. Petal is very, very, let us say, tender. Fragrance is there, of course. And we think that the power of iron paperweight is more than rose. Fine, you may have your own logic. But Indian psychophilosophy says more subtler it is, more power it has. That's why when you offer a rose to someone, you win the person. You cannot win the person by showing him iron paperweight. If you show him iron paperweight, he will show you paperweight of more and more grosser compound. So more subtler we go into, more powerful we become. And last sutra I'm giving you to understand Swa. And that is very, very interesting, very small, but very powerful. This comes from Shiv Sutra. Shiv Sutra is a book where sutra are in form of dialogue between Lord Shiv and Goddess Parvati. And this sutra says, Swapadam Shakti. Two words sutra to understand self, Swa. And this says, Swapadam Shakti. The English peripheral meaning is getting established in the self is strength. Swapadam Shakti. That's why Indian diaspora, Indian discussion on philosophy and psychophilosophy always say that dive deeper inside yourself to emerge more stronger outside. And that's why you will see that history cannot wipe out the name of those who have actually met with themselves. जिसने खुद से मुलाकात कर ली, उसने जमाने में बड़ी बात कर ली. That's why talking to yourself is very important. We are many times engaged with talking with others. We need to be effective with others. But before we begin journey to become effective with others, we have to become effective with self. That is the meaning of, deeper meaning of Swa according to Indian ethos. And ethos means the very nature of the soul of that civilization. So this is the meaning of Swa. Let me change the now test or shade of this discussion. We have discussed on Swa. Now let us discuss on that as per Indian ethos or Indian insight, there is great value attached to gratitude. Gratitude. And a person without gratitude has been condemned. That this is lesser than the, let us say, creatures of lesser values. And on gratitude, I would like to quote from Chanakya Sutra, which says, and this every जिसको जर्रा कहते हैं उर्दू में, जर्रा, every particle of India is charged with this sense of gratitude. Chanakya says, tilmatram api upakaram shailamatram manyate sadhu. It means any gentleman or any honorable lady, any gentle person, if a little amount equivalent to mole, a little amount of help one receives, actually treats that help as a help received of the size of a mountain. So the meaning is that persons with nobility remain grateful forever by treating an insignificant beneficence equivalent to size of a mole received from others as highly significant or equivalent to the size of a mountain. That is our way of living. That's why if you see Mahabharata, or if you see Manusmriti, or if you see other very, very precious shastras, you'll find that each one of us in India, we are looking forward to pay back the debt. And we want Rina Mukti from typically 5 Rina. 5 debts we have inherited. Every individual has inherited 5 Rina. One is called, let us say, Dev Rina, Rishi Rina, Pitra Rina, and Nre Rina, and Bhoot Rina. We are all indebted people. Achha, one thing I would like to say, why some persons, they are indefatigable in nature. Why some persons, they are highly energetic every time. It seems they do not get tired. Of course, everyone has a physical body. Physical body has its own limitation. Everybody feels tired. But some persons, even after doing arduous work, they still appear fresh. Why? I think the answer which I found is that they feel fresh after arduous effort only because they know that great debt are on their head. They have to pay back all these rina, and before death, they must be getting free from these all debt, what is called rina mukti. And dev rina means paying back debt to the nature. When you do plantation, you are acting towards doing, you are putting endeavor towards getting rid of Devarana. Rishirana. When you read books given by seers or knowledgeable persons, you are paying back debt to Rishi, because Rishi means one who can see the truth. When you pay back debt to humanity, you are paying back this Nrirana. When you are helping other creatures to grow, for example, taking care of fauna, basically that is paying back debt to all Bhuta, and paying back debt to all flora. Basically, it is paying back debt to entire nature. So what I'm saying that Indian psychophilosophy actually suggests, this is one of the pillars of Indian psychophilosophy, that gain is strength and motivation by your deeper understanding that you have got this birth to pay back debt. And then where is the time to feel dejected? I think that's why persons who have good understanding, they don't find any reason to be sad or dejected, forget about feeling low, and forget about, let us say, feeling low in energy. So these are actually our own understanding about paying gratitude. And that's why in dependent India, in the India which was Partantra, many persons, they decided to even do the supreme sacrifice for the country, because they knew that there is debt on them and they have paid back debt to this Bharat Bhumi, Bharat Mata, and that's why they did not hesitate even doing the supreme sacrifice and separating their soul from the physical body. And that's why I would like to say that in Indian understanding, there is a deeper understanding about death, because Indian philosophy says, Indian psychophilosophy says that without understanding death, you cannot understand life. You see, one should not be death-oriented. One should not be suicidal in nature, but one should be able to know what is death so that able to live life full size, because life becomes more lively. I'm saying based on Indian philosophy, that life becomes more lively when you know what is death, because death is integral part of life. Just 1 month back, I was reading one sentence that charged me with energy, and it said that death, the moment of death, does not bring you pain. Rather, the moment of death takes away the pain which have been given to you by the life. So death rescues you from pain. Death does not give you pain. So regarding death, the Indian philosophy says that samjivit mrityuh sannevamev layang braja naivo dvijati marne jivane nabhinandati. This I have taken from Ashtavakra Gita, and Ashtavakra was the preacher, and he gave knowledge to none other than Raja Janak. And Ashtavakra says that observe equanimity between life and death and be available to the harmony of the absolute truth. A person with wisdom neither gets perturbed if death is approaching, nor feels rejoiced if he lives for longer years. What I'm saying that, of course, all philosophies are great, salute to all, but because this time has been given to me to understand basically the Indian insight, in Indian insight, that death and life both are complementary. They are two sides of the same coin. That's why one poet wrote, मरना जीना एक है जिनको जरा भी ज्ञान है वो उधर का मर्तबा है ये इधर की शान है. मरना जीना एक है जिनको जरा भी ज्ञान है वो उधर का मर्तबा है ये इधर की शान है. That's why life and death are circular concept in Indian philosophy, that death is the beginning of life and life is the beginning of death. Like in circle, you cannot find which is the beginning point, which is the end point. Similarly, whether life is the beginning and death is the end, or death is the beginning and life is the end, this both things are correct in context of Indian philosophy. And one more I would like to bring insight on death, because understanding death makes you more lively. That manasvi mriyate kamang karpanyang natu gacchati. It means a person with self-esteem prefers death to subjecting himself to destitution before others. I'll repeat. It comes from Hitopadesha, written by Narayan Pandit. Manasvi mriyate kamang karpanyang natu gacchati. It means a person with self-esteem prefers death to subjecting himself to destitution before others. You might have heard one song, patriotic song from Bollywood, sir कटा सकते हैं लेकिन सर झुका सकते नहीं. Of course, this was the way our patriots lived. सर कटा सकते हैं लेकिन सर झुका सकते नहीं. I will safeguard my self-esteem by sacrificing my physical body. I would not save my physical body by sacrificing the self-esteem. But some of us have become now reverse kind of persons that सर झुका सकते हैं लेकिन सर कटा सकते नहीं. किसी तरह से जिंदगी जीना है, किसी तरह से परिग्रह करना है. So these all things we have to understand very deeply. So till now we discussed about Indian insights on independence. What is swa, and in the swa what is life and what is death. But one thing we should understand also, that how we deal with others, because apart from our country, many countries exist and we have to live very harmoniously with everyone. But there are certain riders, and I would like to say that what is Indian insight about how we deal with others. So very quickly I'll take you to a quick journey. See, Mahopanishad says Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. But let me recite the full sutra, because when you know full sutra, you feel more charged. Ayang bandhu, ayang neti, ganana laghu chetasam, udar charitanang tu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Whole world is our own family, no doubt about that. And that's why every individual has been suggested in our context that you need to be Sarvabhut Hite Rata. This comes from Bhagavad Gita. Sarvabhut Hite Rata means human being is Rata means engaged continuously. Rat hai, continuous engagement, not intermittent. So every individual human being is continuously engaged in welfare of all. Sarvabhut Hite Rata. But there are two riders, and please listen carefully, that though we say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and though we say Sarvabhut Hite Rata, but does not mean that our humility and humbleness should be taken as a kind of cowardice. Dinkar ji had written, Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, छीनता हो स्वत्व कोई और तू त्याग तप से काम ले, यह पाप है, पुण्य है विच्छिन्न कर देना उसे, बढ़ रहा तेरी तरफ जो हाथ है. That's why we do not attack on anybody. Indian history, if we all see, India has never attacked on any country, never ever has attacked on any country. We do not believe in that, because who will attack on whom? Because that the other person is extended part of myself. That is the concept of swa. So if other does not exist for me, why I should attack others? But question is that when we do not attack others, but if others attack us, we tolerate to some extent. For example, Lord Krishna tolerated when he was abused 99 times, and when he was abused 100th time, then he said enough is enough, and he uses his Sudarshan Chakra. So India also does that. So Mahabharata Sutra says, Na vibheti yada chayang yada chasman na bibhyati kam dveshau tvajayati tadatmanang cha pashyati. I would like to listen, I'd request you to listen this sutra very carefully, because it can be very useful in personal life also. Anywhere, in organization, in family, in society, dealing with known, dealing with unknown. It says, Na bibheti yada chayang yada chasman na bibhyati kam dveshau chajayati tadatmanang cha pashyati. Mahabharata Shanti Parva. Meaning is, when one does not fear any creature, means you please do not get fear from anyone, nor any creature is frightened at one, nor you create fear in others. When one conquers one's desires and aversion, then is one said to behold one's soul. It means even social interaction is the means to achieve enlightenment. That is the way our literature says. So here I would like to say, it is also suggesting at workplace, do not get afraid of anyone, but do not inflict fear on anyone. Na bibhyati na bibheti, na daro na darao. Because खाली डरा हुआ व्यक्ति ही डराता है, जो खुद डरा हुआ नहीं रहता है वो डराता भी नहीं है. और जो डरा हुआ ही नहीं है वो किसी डरता क्यों है, डरेगा ही नहीं. That's why neither get fearful of anyone nor inflict fear, and this is our way, and this is the way our country deals with other country. We do not make any country fearful. Give me the history, any instance that India has made any country fearful, has shown eyes and belittled anyone. No, not like that. And neither it gets fearful from others. And that's why India knows that equanimity does not mean equal absolute behavior with everyone. Equanimity means proportionate equal behavior with everyone. This is what I think, that India knows that equanimity, सद्व्यवहारिता, एकात्मानुभूति, सबको एक समान ट्रीट करना, इसका अर्थ नहीं है कि सबको एब्सोल्युटली एक समान ट्रीट करना, सबको समानुपातिक तरीके से एक समान ट्रीट करना. That's why Indian psychophilosophy believes in not absolute treatment, absolute equal treatment to everyone. It believes in proportional equal treatment to everyone. And that's why Mahabharat Ashram Vasik Parv says, Ari madhyasth mitresu vartase chanurupatah. Ari means enemy, madhyasth means neutral, and mitreshu means friend. India has got, means rest of the countries in the world, in context of India, we have three types of relations. Some countries are our friend countries, some are neutral, and some may not be friendly, unfriendly. And the Indian context says that one has to behave, a nation has to behave as appropriate towards foes, towards neutral, and towards allies. And that's why we know how to differentiate. So we should not be mistaken that because we are Shanti Priya, it means anyone doing anything with us and we will remain Shanti Priya, because showing, let us say, mercy to treacherous or to someone who is unkind or cruel is basically not the right kind of behavior. And our nation knows how to deal with them appropriately. So quickly I will summarize saying about the post-independent India's condition and how Indian ethos can help. But before that, let me tell you very quickly, time is running very fast. You see, India has shown its character in all crucial times. If we go to history, of course, Indian history has not been properly documented, especially before Gautam Buddha, because our history does not start with Gautam Buddha. Typically, documented history starts with Gautam Buddha, but our history is long back written, or long back was existing. Unfortunately, our authors, they were not suffering with lokeshna, that hum naam kamale, I should be known. Our authors were not, had no tendency, no choice towards this. That's why, unfortunately, we missed the reference points. Otherwise, even if we count, let us say, our history from Gautam Buddha, so we find that when Chandragupta Maurya, he adopted Jain Dharma and came to Karnataka and sacrificed his body through a process called Santhara in Jainism in Shravan-Belgola in Karnataka, later on followed by Ashok, who adopted Buddhism. And after that, sometime this Maurya dynasty gets faded. And one dynasty comes in history, it is not generally taught, but we should know. Then came Shunga dynasty, and Shunga dynasty came and did everything to safeguard the Sanatan Dharma. And many of you may be knowing that in his court, not in his court, but basically in his kingdom only, was a great person called Patanjali. I don't know now, small children, what do they mean by Patanjali? Of course, Ramdev Baba is doing a good job, but Patanjali, the word comes from a name, and he was during the dynasty of Shunga. Pushyamitra Shunga was a great king. It should be taught to every Indian to actually feel proud of oneself. And during his time, Patanjali also wrote Yoga Sutra, which is one of the 6 pillars of Indian psychophilosophy. And then if you see, after Shunga came Hun and many others, and then came the dynasty of Samudragupta. And during the period of Samudragupta, the geographical spread of the country was the largest and farthest. But Again comes 9th century, when in Kaladi Adi Shankaracharya was born, and he is par excellence creature of this universe, because I think I rate him just next to Ved Vyas. Who am I to rate anyone, and that to Shankaracharya? But after Ved Vyas, if somebody has done most arduous work, who left his mortal coil, his physical body at the age of 32, can one imagine? If I live for 332 years, I cannot do that much work, or even 432 years. In 32 years he did. He revived the entire, let us say, ethos of the country. And then comes in 1990, 1191, 92 was a crucial turning point. And then we come to 15th century, where Nirguna Bhakti, and followed in the next century by Saguna Bhakti, this 15th century and 16th century, everything was done to charge us with the self-esteem and self, let us say, respect during those periods by many authors, by many singers, by many writers, by many poets, and a kind of revival of literature takes place in 15th century and 16th century. You see, if you see the history, 1526 Babur comes, 1707 Aurangzeb dies. But you will be surprised to know that when 1526 Babur came, Guru Nanak was alive, and when 1707 Aurangzeb dies, in 1708 the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, dies. But entire parallel history of Sikh has not been properly documented in our, at least for our formal education in school, and we read only from Babur to Aurangzeb, and we do not read formally from Guru Nanak to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And if you see the history of these all 10 Gurus, first was Guru Nanak, second was Angad Dev, third was Amar Das, fourth was Ram Das, fifth was Arjan Dev, and sixth was Guru Har Gobind, and seventh was Guru Ram Rai, eighth was Guru Har Kishan, ninth was who was martyred in Chandni Chowk, and that is Guru Tegh Bahadur, and 10th was Guru Gobind Singh. All Gurus, they either as gentlemen sacrificed their life for welfare of others, or they took, let us say, very, very courageous stand to safeguard the spirit of the country. So these all should be also known to us. Of course, Mughal dynasty's period is also contributing to some extent for India's development, no doubt about that. But the parallel history, subaltern history, actually also should be known to us. And history, total 360-degree vision should be given to us. Means history should not be captive of narratives. Otherwise, we get what is perceived by the author and not what exactly happened. So I would like to say that these all should be also emphasized while understanding the sacrifices of various persons who sacrifice their lives for our country. And again, many things are not discussed in the history, which actually will charge you with a spirit of nation. For example, in Sambalpur, there was agitation even before 1857, and Sai led the revolution there. In 1800, I lived in Ranchi for a long period, and Birsa Munda, he sacrificed his body in jail in 1800, only at the age of 25. Birsa Munda, he should be known. You see, I would like to say here that IGNOU is doing a great job. 75 actually flowers will be knit together to create a garland on, let us say, 15th August 2022. I would like to say that at least 3 persons from every state who are known in the respective state should be known by entire nation. For example, as I said, Birsa Munda of Bihar, or now Jharkhand, or Sai from Sambalpur, or let us say Sidhu Kanu. Sidhu Kanu sacrificed their life in 1855. Of course, they all were failure story, but who cares for failure or success? We should know that how much sacrifices they did. And in that way, we should understand 360-degree all angles of the history. And last, and I would like to conclude that in post-independent India, there is implication of this Indian insight of independence, and we should stick to that. And one poet said कि जमहूरियत वह तर्ज हुकूमत है कि जिसमें बंदों को गिना करते हैं, तौला नहीं करते. Fortunately or unfortunately, democracy is the most evolved system of governance, but democracy also has its own demerits, and we have to understand that what should be condition that we should create that democracy gives its maximum yield and advantage to persons. And that's why, as a student and as a person working in the field of academics, I would like to say that education needs to be emphasized, originality needs to be discovered and rediscovered. We should not be champion imitator. It is better to be original copy with certain defect compared to be perfect eighth carbon copy. So we need to also search our originality. And as suggested in the national education policy, that is Indian knowledge system, which gives a complete integrated view of developing human being, we should try to understand the spirit of that, and right from primary up to PhD, we should try to knit in a proper way. And I always suggest overdose will not help. Some persons, they start recommending overdose of this. No, but it has to be properly knit, and Indian knowledge system has to be knit in such a way that right from primary level to PhD, and in this process of education, a person develops as an integrated person who is fully devoted to the country and has love for the whole nation, not only the earth, but love for the whole universe, but completely devoted to the country. And for that, we need to research our swa, our sense of self, and we need to say goodbye to three things: imitation, sycophancy, and hypocrisy. We need to be original, simple, and embedded in our own way to be able to a world citizen. Thank you very much. I think I extended my time. Thank you for giving me opportunity. Thank you all. Namaskar.